Look out! Yuri!
I'm slipping!
Gotcha. Hold on! Viewers, I have wonderful news. There is knowledge inside Ellen's head that is of interest to all of us, especially every Spider-Man fan, and that is because you, Ellen, you've finally gone hands-on with the new Spider-Man game.
I got Daily Bugle.
Oh look, here it is!
There's breaking news.
Oh my gosh.
All about Spider-Man, and we're going to bring it to you.
Well, why didn't I just read this? I have questions about Spider-Man. I'm sure you guys have very similar questions, so I'm going to put them to Ellen. We are going to get the answers that we need. It's interrogation time. You're not ready, Ellen. This is going to be brutal. Now, there's already been an incredible Spider-Man game, and that was Spider-Man 2 for the GameCube and PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And it had amazing open-world, physics-based web-slinging, and it's never been beat.
Mm-hmm.
What is the web-slinging like?
It's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
The controls on it are, like, very intuitive. So you hit your little R2 button to swing around, and you control with your directional thing. So you can.
Can you do L2 for the left hand?
No, it's all automatically
okay, so it's all on
one,
R2. Okay.
But you change direction in mid-swing,
nice.
and you do a lot of wall running.
Okay.
And you can climb up. Also, you have special ones where you do both, and you can go.
That sounds good.
And then you launch yourself.
How manual does that swinging feel? Like when you hold down the R2 button and fire your web and swinging along, do you then release the R2 button to sort of swing through the air, and then you press it again to fire another web?
If you keep holding on to your web slinging button, you go up and you keep going up, and then eventually it does break when he's like kind of like there. But then you do have to press it again to keep going, because otherwise he kind of falls. And it's one thing, it's very forgiving. So if you do just land on the floor, you don't die. It's fine. I mean, he's Spider-Man.
He's Spider-Man. He's not going to telescope his knees, is he?
So
he's got spider knees.
Even if you don't do it particularly gracefully, which I think no one really has been doing so far because it's a demo, it's the first time on the game.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe like the Spider-Man 2 veterans might have been going, oh, it's like the old days. But yeah, with that, it's very forgiving, and it makes Spider-Man still looks cool even if you mess up a move. It's all good.
Okay, that sounds promising. That sounds like an intriguing amount of actual manual control over the web, which I like.
Yes.
But they've got more questions, Ellen. The demos that we've seen of this game undoubtedly look amazing. There's lots of crazy acrobatics, freaky things that looks like they're sort of half cutscene, half action, and all this impossible acrobatic action-y stuff. It looks really, really rad. It also looked to me like it was going to be quite quick time event heavy, as in you might look like you're doing something extremely cool, but actually what you're doing on the controller is sort of maybe doing timed button presses, and that doesn't always feel especially rewarding, and that is something that Spider-Man games have leaned on a little too heavily in the past. Is that fair to say?
Yes, they have.
So based on what you've played, which again admittedly I know isn't too much, how quick time heavy did it feel?
I didn't have a single quick time event.
Okay.
Instead, I had Spidey sense, which is a bit like when in Batman Arkham games he has the little exclamation mark above someone who's about to hit him.
Yep.
Basically, when Spider-Man is about to be attacked, you have to dodge, and that's the only QTE type thing that I did.
Okay.
And it was like I didn't do any of the big, huge scripted moments, but I did do a boss fight, and it was very much just a traditional boss fight, and it wasn't. It wasn't kind of going, oh, I've got to do this.
It wasn't just like tapping your way through a cutscene.
No, I was doing it all myself, which meant I died a couple of times, but it was like very intuitive and fun, and yeah, it wasn't. I was really worried that there would be a lot of QTEs in this game, especially with the kind of stuff that they showed last E3. But it was good playing it. It was really fun.
narrowing my eyes
narrowing
with cautious
your eyes.
optimism.
Yeah,
it wasn't what I expected you would say, so I feel discomforted.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, I've not played like some of the huge scene, like everything falling around you type parts.
The quick time events must be there.
I can't speak for that, but in the general play, you get the occasional, you can, dodge out the way.
Well, that's fine.
But otherwise,
okay,
it's looking promising.
Okay.
Come on, Sony.
What's the story? What's the whole deal with Spider-Man?
Well,
I know that there's like a whole bunch of villains in this.
Yeah.
But like, what's the sort of thrust of the narrative? Do we know that yet? Do you have an insight?
Well, it seems like that there is a mastermind behind all of this stuff who's not been revealed yet, but people have their theories. I think it's possibly Doc Ock, but it's someone who's very
I'd be surprised.
Technically minded and has given
has 8 legs.
and has given a selection of Spider-Man enemies who were locked up in prison special gear that allowed them to escape the prison and let all the people in the prison also escape. Yeah. So basically there's a load of convicts all running around the city, so everything's going a bit there's lots of things happening and going down.
Okay.
But the main gist of the story is that there is this selection of Spider-Man supervillains being kind of puppeted perhaps by another bad guy, and it's getting to the root of that, I think, and try and just take down the villains.
That seems promising to me as well, because going back to the greatest Spider-Man game ever, Spider-Man 2, the structure of that game was essentially as you progress through the story, it was more or less a rogues gallery of Spider-Man. You took down one villain, then Mysterio would pop up, and you'd take down Mysterio, and then I don't know, Electro or some other idiot would pop up, and then you take them down. But what's fun about it is that obviously those are all very different villains, and it makes for a very different kind of experience.
Yes.
So hopefully this can achieve that same variety, but with more of an overarching story.
Yes, fingers crossed.
One would hope. My fingers, look at them, they're crossed. Something that I have to say I was a little concerned by, based on the demos that we saw here at E3 and have seen previously, is I'm a little concerned about Spider-Man's quip rate, i.e. how often he's firing out those killer Spider-Man one-liners, because it's part of his character, and I didn't see in the demo any sort of witty asides or kind of quick-fire things. Do you think Spider-Man's going to be funny?
I think so. There are a few little things where, like, I stopped a robbery happening, and he's like, I thought crime would have gone down after I arrested all those other guys. And, he's kind of making...
Wouldn't put it in his Type 5, but, but it's not a terrible line. Yeah.
In the demo that I played, I came across one of the big supervillains, I think it was Shocker, who was robbing a bank, and he's like, don't you know, like, everything's online these days type thing? It was like, there's no one uses banks anymore.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and then to try and prevent him from escaping, he shuts the safe door, so they're stuck in the safe together, and he's like, hey, let's chill out, play some games, got a pack of cards type stuff.
Okay,
so,
sounds all right.
In those very scripted scenes, he's very down to earth, but still also when you're running around and taking part in fights, there's occasional things. He's like, this I just noticed that little thing. And makes a comment on it.
That actually is promising, because the big scenes that they've shown off, the big set pieces in the demos here at E3 and last year as well, they have been a little bit sort of serious, and that's not what I want from my Spider-Man. I want him to make stupid jokes and fall over sometimes.
When the prison is first being broken out of, he's like, could you all go back in your cells, please? Please? Okay, no. And then fights them. It's quite sweet.
Okay.
Sorry, Spider-Man.
All right. Once again, eyes narrowed, cautious optimism. Spider-Man is a friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. That means he is a Spider-Man of the people, which means that in an open-world Spider-Man game, I want him to have so many side quests and so many activities and so many things to do, and not just a linear story. I want him to be helping everybody. Is he helping everybody?
He is. He is indeed.
Okay.
So I said earlier how I stopped a robbery. There's a lot of robberies going down because all the convicts have gotten out.
Okay.
So the crime has risen a little bit, and he's going around dealing with that. There's also some shootouts that you come where the police are trying to deal with all the the Crims who are all breaking stuff, and then Spider-Man comes down and is like, kicks everything. He's like, hey, web. And then,
Web.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening where you're just like swinging around and you bump into something almost. Like you just kind of swing across over something that's happening. You're like, oh, what's going on down there?
Oh, what was that?
And then it's like, oh, there's a robbery. There's a shootout. Please help. So you go down and you can like fight them and stop things from happening. And there's little kind of like areas that are held by the bad guys that you kind of go and clear out. There are like some waves of enemies that come out that you have to fight.
Oh, okay. So like sort of a base liberation kind of mechanic.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And then around the city there are backpacks which are webbed to the wall where you can go and find things to collect.
Web.
Yes.
Yep.
Web. And then also there's sort of like Assassin's Creed style synchronization points.
Oh, okay, all
so
right.
you go up to a really high point, and then it's like, have a look round, and then Spidey's like, I'm going to see where everything is.
Spider-Man's like, yep, that's New York.
Yeah.
Already been extensively mapped, but good to just check everything's where it's supposed to be.
So the backpacks that I mentioned, instead of having to look for a map online and finding all guides and stuff, you scan up there and it shows you where they are. So you just have to go, it's over there. Cool, I'm going to have fun and swing like that effortlessly as Spidey and go and collect that and crawl up the wall and go.
Cool. It's understandable if you don't know this, Ellen, but can you still help children find their lost balloons? Because
I did not come across that, no, unfortunately
game
not.
seems bad.
But instead of that, there are some people who want to say hi to you. And you can go up to someone and you give them like high fives. So there are fans wandering around and you can interact with them.
Web. 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 So what Spider-Man does, he goes for the high five and it webs you in the face.
Yeah.
What's he like, that rascal? You mentioned the Spidey sense thing earlier in the combat where you sort of have to react and it being a little bit like Batman. How Batman is the combat on a scale of 1 to 10 Batmans?
It is 10 Batmans, but sped up. So,
right.
like you've got the enemies that you come across, you've got the guys with guns, the guys with shields, the guys with electric batons, and you're like, this is all very familiar if you've ever played the Arkham series.
And combat in those games is you're surrounded by enemies, but generally it involves timed button presses and just tilting the stick in the direction of the person you want to hit. And then queuing up your next one.
But there's like a focus meter type thing that you build up, and then you can do a special like slow-mo attack that like the camera comes in and it's like, this is going to be good. And you like web a guy in the face. Web.
Is this game only Spider-Man webbing people in the face?
And you flip over him.
At point blank range.
Yeah. Web, flip over, and then you kind of grab him by the shoulders and go
wham.
like that. So yeah,
nice.
there's a lot of super moves like that. And then when you also build up another particular super move, you go like that, and Spider-Man just like shoots all the webs and takes out everyone in the vicinity. So
shoots out all his web.
Basically, it's just like shh. But it's because he's just going super fast.
Okay.
So he's like, and everyone gets webbed.
The idea of that sort of fluid, really visually pleasing combat that you get in Batman, but sped up and a lot more gymnastic. Yeah. Sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. It's tricky. As someone who's played the Arkham games, I found it was a little bit more difficult. I mean, it also was my first time on the game, and it was a way into the game, so I didn't have any of the tutorials. But it was both was very kind of intuitive, but also quite tricky. There were some cool extra things that, you know, once you master the system, you'll look amazing and badass.
Easy to learn, hard to master.
Yes.
That's what you want. Okay.
Also, another way that it's similar to Batman combat is that there's stealth elements.
Oh, okay, so you don't have to charge in?
No, you can sneak around and take out guys one by one. One of the moves is you shoot a web at them and you pull yourself at them very quickly and then knock them out with a kick.
Sounds like a good entry for our list of least stealthy things.
Yep, and then there's another one where, similar to where Batman does the hanging grab from one of the gargoyles, you can like get a guy and you web him and then you pull him up and then you kind of like, he's stuck.
He's cocooned.
He's just like,
very conspicuously
I live here
cocooned.
now, just hanging from a beam. And it was quite cool. One of the areas that we played in was a building site on the top of a skyscraper. And yeah, like you can use the environment, so you can a little bit in the Batman games get environmental kills. In this, you have your web, you shoot the barrel, and you can swing it around and then hit someone with it.
Nice.
So that's particularly good for the harder enemies to take out. So if there's a guy with a shield, you're like, right, I'm going to get this thing, swing around, hit them. Also, when they throw grenades at you, you web the grenade. So it's kind of like L1R1, web the grenade, swing it around, and then you throw it back at them. So there's like all these like fun little extra things you can do as Spider-Man, doing stealthy stuff, going in all webs blazing, and yeah, it's just like
cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's a little bit when everything goes down, but it's really fun. And
I'm surprised to hear that there's so much stealth. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's stealth. Spider-Man can be stealthy.
We can.
I mean, he has all the powers of a spider. And there's been plenty of times where spiders have creeped up on me, and then I've not been very stealthy.
That's true,
about
yeah.
that.
Actual spiders can be quite stealthy, can't they? Yeah. They're just suddenly there in your curtains.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one in your hair right now.
Yeah.
So, Elle and I only have one more question, and it's the most important one. Having had my heart broken so many times by Spider-Man games since Spider-Man 2, the greatest Spider-Man game of all time, I just want to know and want to fix you in the eyes as I ask this. Are you excited for it? Do you think it's good?
Yes. Yeah, I am very excited. I'm pretty excited for it.
Okay.
Playing it felt fun. It felt like the open world, good Spidey swinging, Spidey fighting game that people have been waiting for, I think. The world felt very fun. There were like loads of people walking around it. It felt very real and alive. There's lots happening. I kept stumbling into things to do. And I think it'll be intriguing as well to see the story with all the villains, because not everyone knows all of these Spider-Man villains. Like Mr. Negative, a lot of people, unless you read the comics, don't really know. And
he's not just a guy who's really bummed out.
No.
He's
Cheer
up, Mr. Negative. Might not happen.
Apparently the devs have had fun with that character because he has like this. He's also another guy who Aunt May works for. So,
what?
Yeah.
Well, can she stop?
But the other guy is good.
Whose side are you on?
But it sounds like there's going to be some fun stuff with the story.
Cool.
I enjoyed like the little boss battle that I had with one of the guys. I think it's going to be good. I am tentatively excited because I think it's always good to be tentatively excited with like these things.
Sure.
But I think I know a lot of Spider-Man fans who I think are going to be very, very happy.
If you had to put money on it, and of course, as you say, we can't be sure, but if you had to put money on it, you think it's going to be good?
I think it's going to be good.
Okay.
I enjoyed what I played, and yeah, it was good.
Well, in that case, Ellen, I have decided to emotionally open myself up once more to the concept of a Spider-Man game. Imagine gigantic Jurassic Park gates swinging open over my heart. My heart is now... My heart is now open and ready to feel.
I am excited for Spider-Man.
But I could have my heart broken if this all goes wrong.
If it does, I'm really sorry.
Well,
but it
apologise to my shattered heart. So thank you, Ellen, for answering my questions.
That's all right.
And thank you guys for watching.
Mm-hmm.
If you enjoyed this, then why not subscribe for much more and check out some of the other videos we produced from E3, because we've been playing loads of cool games.
So many games.
And if you're into games, then hey, we've played them and we talked about them. That's the deal.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So thank you for watching, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
See you.
Web.
Web.